Hello everyone, myself Bhuvaneshwari VS. I am currently pursuing my civil engineering in SVCA Bengaluru. Today we will be discussing about Constitution of India. Introduction. The Constitution of India is the supreme law of the country. It was adopted on 26 January 1950 by replacing the Government of India Act 1935. The Constitution of India provides a framework for the governance of India, and it also defines who is the citizen of India, and it also uh, grants certain rights and privileges to its citizen, and it also provides some provisions for acquisition and termination of the citizenship.
Preamble of the Constitution. The preamble of the Constitution states the objectives and basic ideals of Indian Constitution. It declares India to be sovereign, socialist, secular and democratic republic. The preamble also highlights justice, liberty, equality and fraternity as core values.
Features of the Constitution. Federal system with unitary bias. Power is divided between the central and state government. Fundamental rights guarantees individuals liberties and freedom. Directive principles of state policy provide guidelines for the government to ensure social and economic justice. Constitution of India. The Constitution was enacted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949 and it came into effect on 26 January 1950. It was adopted by the Constitution Assembly, where Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chairman of drafting committee, is widely considered to be the architect of Constitution of India. After the adoption of Constitution, the Union of India became the contemporary and modern Republic of India. Features of the Constitution. The lengthiest Constitution in the world. The Constitution is divided into 26 parts, which is containing 448 articles and 12 schedules. The Constitution also includes schedules and amendments in which the Part 1 consists of Union and its territories, and Part 2 consists of citizenship, and Part 3 consists of fundamental rights. Our Constitution is parliamentary form of a government, where the President is only the nominal head of the nation, and our Constitution is mixture of both rigidity and flexibility. Fundamental rights. A right to equality, right to freedom of speech and expression, right against exploitation, etc. Fundamental rights are enforceable by the courts and protect individual liberties. They ensure justice and equality for all the citizens of India. Fundamental rights are included in Part 3 of the Indian Constitution, that is from Article 12 to Article 35. Directive principles of state policy. These principles are the guidelines for the government to establish a just society. They include provisions for social welfare, economic development and environmental protection. Although not legally enforceable, they are fundamental to the governance of India. Union government. The President is the head of the state, whereas the Prime Minister is head of the government. The Parliament consists of President, Rajya Sabha, in which there will be Council of States, and Lok Sabha, where it is House of People. The Union government has the power to make laws on subjects listed in the Union list. State government. Each state has its own government headed by a chief minister. State legislatures consist of the governor and Vidhana Sabha, that is legislative assembly. The state government have the power to make laws and subjects listed in the state list. Emergency provinces. The Constitution provides for the declaration of three types of emergency, that is, national, state, and financial. During emergencies, the central government gains additional power to deal with the crisis. That is, the emergency provisions are temporary and subject to constitutional review. Role of President. The President of India is the head of the state. The President appoints the Prime Minister and high-ranking officials. The President's assent is required for enactment of laws. The President is the nominal head of the executive, and the President nominates the members of both the houses. The President is the first citizen of the country and as well as the Supreme Commander of Indian Armed Forces, and legislation dealing with the fundamental rights under the Constitution requires the President consent. Money bills introduced in Lok Sabha require President consent. All bills passed by the Parliament need the President consent before becoming a law. Draupadi Murmu is the 15th and current President of India. Role of Prime Minister. Prime Minister is head of the government and exercises executive powers. The Prime Minister is the leader of the government and is responsible for all the government policies and decisions. The Prime Minister leads the Council of Ministers and is responsible for policy decision. The Prime Minister represents India at national and at international levels. Then, Prime Minister selects the members of the government to be ministers. Then, Prime Minister will be deciding the leading cabinet for deciding the government policy. He will be determining the legislative agenda of the government and strongly influencing the economic priorities and setting the structure and operations of the government. The Prime Minister will be choosing the election dates. Now, presently, Narendra Modi is the 14th and current Prime Minister of India. Conclusion. The Constitution of India is a comprehensive document that establishes the framework for the governance. It guarantees fundamental rights, promotes social justice, and ensures democratic principles. The Constitution is a living document that adapts to the changing needs and aspirations of the Indian people. These are some references which are used for the preparation of this presentation, that is Indian Constitution, Wikipedia, and Constitution of India. Thank you.